All right, so what's going to happen is today we used to take quick notes on percent change, and this is something that you have to know how to do. So, for example, if somebody says 90%, right, so this is in percent form, and then we always have to put the symbol. You have to be able to turn it into a decimal. So, this would be the decimal form, and it is 0.09. So essentially what you're doing is 90 divided by 100. I know. You have to wait. And if you want to go the other way, if they tell you it's 0.25, then you're going to have to multiply by 100%. By 100. And that'll take you to 25%. It's loading, it's loading. So if you're in percent, divide by 100 to become a decimal. If you're in decimal, you multiply by 100 to become a percent. So everybody's fine until we start getting a whole bunch of zeros. So if I say change to decimal, and I give you 10.5%. How do we write that as a decimal? What does the calculator say? Or divided by 100, what do we get? 0.105? Or no? $10.5 divided by 100, 0.105. Oops, I wrote it wrong, didn't I? Now, that's why some teachers say, just move the decimal twice to the left. Have you ever heard teachers say that? So for this one, they just say, oh, once and twice. So that's how you end up with 0.105. Clear? Everything's good except once we start getting into this, what is 2.3% as a decimal? All right, please engage. I want to see calculators. 0.023. All right, so then you do 2.3 divided by 100, 0.023. And that's why some teachers say just move the decimal twice to the left. And if you move it once, you're in front of the 2. But you got to move it again because you got to do it 2 times. And then so that's why you need that 0 there. Okay. And then the decimal is now located here. But what if it's 0.8%? It's a very tiny percentage, but how do we write that as a decimal? Everybody engaged because this is a calculation that needs to be done quickly. 0.008. There we go. What if it's percent interest and they're really only giving you 0.05%? No, you're going from percent to decimal. What did we do to go from here to here? Divided by 100. So what is 0.05% in decimal form? 0.0005. Okay, but what if I asked you to go from a decimal to a percent. So let's say I said 120%. Oops, sorry. My bad. I said from a decimal, right? 1.2. I want you to change that to a percent. 120%. So what if it was just 9? The decimal, technically it's a decimal, right? What if it's just 9? What percentage is that? 900%. What if it's 0.03? What percentage is that? 3%. What if it's 0.8? 80%. All right, so please make sure that you're comfortable with this. From percent, you got to divide by 100 to turn into a decimal. From decimal, you got to multiply by 100 to become a percent, okay? And back and forth. And it's really just either moving the decimal twice to the left or twice to the right. Right, and that's how you would need the. All right, so now let's take a look at the questions. This is the first part of the questions. It says, what is the result when the number 84 is decreased by 50%? So first, let's understand what is going on. We need to decrease this number by 50% of itself, correct? But what is 50% of 84? Does your calculator do percents? No. Are you guys able to hit the percent key in your calculators? Or no? Okay, so you can do that. Or you can just know to turn this into a decimal. Dividing by 100, this will give me 0.5 of 84. That's technically 0.5 times 84. And what's that, 42? All right, so 42, which makes sense. 50% is half, okay? Half of 84 is 2. If this is 42, we need to subtract, we need to decrease it by 50%. So 84 is going to be decreased by 50% of itself. So minus 42 is going to give us the other half, right? If you take away half of it, you're left with the other half. For decreasing, it's going to be A, 1 minus R. Decimal. The value. This is the result when the number 10 is decreased by 50%. So A equals 10, and R is going to be 0.5, right? Because 50%, you need to divide it by 100 to get it into decimal form. So it's 10 times 1 minus 0.5. So if you're decreasing it by 50%, I guess you're keeping 50%. If you're decreasing by 40%, you're going to be keeping 60%. So how much is it? Did y'all put it in? I heard one person say the right answer already. If you're decreasing a number by 50%, you're decreasing it by half. Let's see if they give us a real problem here. All right, here we go. Now, for number 2, they want us to, what is the result when the number 44 is increased by 25%? Okay, so if this is decrease, when we're subtracting the percent that we want to decrease, well, guess what increase is going to be? The percent that we want to increase it by. So in this case, our A is 44. And what's the percent or the rate that we want to increase it by? What's 25% divided by 100? I cannot help you. Grab a calculator with the other hand. What is it? $25 divided by 100. 0.25. So following the formula, A 1 plus R is going to be 4 times 1 plus 0.25. Right? I could combine them before, or I can keep them separate and just have the calculator do that for me. Are we clear? 3? No, it has to be bigger than 4 because it's increasing by 0.25. It's 5. So if we increase 4 by 25%, it's going to become 5. Right? No.
Oh, you did 4 instead of 44.
I did 4 instead of 44, correct? Yeah. Okay, so that was a mistake. So let us be careful there. All right, let's look at formula 2. All right, so now they're just using different percents that are not easy to calculate, that you actually need the calculator. What is the result when the number 34 is decreased by 5%? So we know A is 34. The rate is going to be not in percent form, but in decimal form. What is 5% in decimal form? So you got to do 5 divided by 100 in your calculator. Start from the point when you want to give me the answers. 0.05. 0.05. And this is decrease. And when it's decreased, it's going to be 1 minus R. Oops, I meant to put the number there. I'll put the right number this time, 34. 1 minus 0.05. And what's 1 minus 0.05? Because if you have 100% and you decrease it by 5%, what percentage do you have left? Okay. Everybody, what is 1 minus 0.05? What is 1 minus 0.05? Okay. Another way to think about it is you're decreasing by 5%, right? You're decreasing from where? You're decreasing from 100% of the number. So what's 100% minus 5%? So if you're decreasing by 5%, you're keeping 95%. Clear? So we want to know what 95% of that number is. And what somebody gave the answer already, what was it? Nobody gave me the answer? 32.3? Fine. Yeah, if I get it wrong, it's going to be your fault. Here we go. Ah, we got it right. See percent decrease formula right here? They did the same thing that we did, you see? All right, let's look at this part right here. Percent change word problems. It's the same calculations, okay? It's either increase or decrease. If you bought a stock last year for a price of how much? For a price of how much? So that means our initial value is $134, and it has gone down 8% since then. How much is the stock worth now? So did it increase or decrease? It decreased. So it's going to be A times 1 minus R, clear? By the amount that it decreased. Our R, anybody know what 8% is as a decimal? Yes. 0.08, correct? Don't mess up on the zeros. It's going to mess up your calculation. So I got to do 134 times 1 minus 0.08. $123.28? Or no? Did y'all check in your calculators, or y'all just waiting for me to do the work? Oops, my bad. I just, did I write 123.28? Got it. And then, I don't know why, this is, it says L2. In a newspaper, oh, it's almost time? All right, so I hope this was helpful. Can I count on you guys finishing this tonight? And catch up with, what do you mean I can't count on you to finish, to do your homework? Make sure you also do last night's homework, the Ed puzzles.